And hello for episode 4 of the Ebbenflow Podcast. I'm Ben, and today we're going to be talking about EDM. And it's very appropriate that I'm talking about EDM for this episode because the timing of this episode is 3 days before EDC. So yeah, recording it May 13th. EDC, I'm leaving on Thursday to Las Vegas, and I'm meeting up with some people that I met on Reddit, and we're gonna go camping, and I'm gonna meet up with my friends John and Tyler that I've been going to raves with for a little bit now. And yeah, I am just fucking over the moon about going to this music festival because when I was first getting into this, so whole story here, because EDM, I'm starting it off with the festival, but I'll take a step back and say EDM is a very, very large part of my life. It's been a part of my life since 2010. First time, I mean, I listened to like Every Time We Touch by Cascada, so that has like electronic music elements in it. But I think the first like song you could call EDM that I listened to was in 2010. I was watching a Call of Duty 4 sniper montage on YouTube, and the background music was Flux Pavilion's remix of Cracks by the Freestylers. And I remember hearing that song in the background to this guy, sniping on COD 4 and editing, like a montage. And just thinking, yo, what is this song though? Like, it goes hard. Luckily, the song was in the video description, and I just typed it in on YouTube, the song name, and it brought me to UKF Dubstep's channel. And yeah, I listened to it probably 20 or 30 times after, and had to take a deep dive into UK Dub's YouTube channel, and I found it. I found electronic music, like something that was different from what my parents listened to than what my sisters listened to at the time. Because when the first music you're kind of exposed to is from your family when you're growing up, but like when I found EDM, it was like this one's mine. Like, this is my kind of music. It's for me. Like, it belongs to me. Like, it's a really cool feeling. And yeah, I went down. Should I bring this back to EDC? I'll just continue down this and then we'll get to it. So, went down the UKF rabbit hole and discovered a lot of awesome artists. Some of the first ones that come to mind: Dr. P and Zed's Dead. That's all. The only two I can think of for now, but a lot more. I don't think Skrillex was releasing on UKF at the time, but I had obviously found him shortly after discovering EDM, and he was the one that really put me on. Like, Scary Monsters and Night Sprites, it was just like nothing I had ever heard before. Like, it was just incredible. And there's so many comments on his videos back then that were like, this sounds like two robots having sex. And there's a lot of hate toward it too. But I didn't understand that because I was just thinking how awesome it was. And so, yeah, that was kind of like the first genre of EDM that I got into was dubstep. That's the first, my first foray. I had no idea there were more subgenres of EDM. I didn't even know it was called EDM at the time. Then shortly after, I discovered Monster Cat. And I don't know, this is probably like 2012, 2013, yeah, time, like era. And then Monster Cat was like the first, I mean, UKF was my first exposure, but the first label that I really attached to was Monster Cat. And you know, one of the first memories I have of it was their 007 mix. No, it has nothing to do with James Bond. It was just their 7th mix out at the time. And they had this the visualizer from Beeple. If you've never heard of Beeple, check him out on Instagram. He does some crazy art. So it had that visualizer, and then like I think the first song was Disconnected by Pegboard Nerds. And bro, that song, like, so many songs changed my life. That was definitely one of them that changed everything for me. I think that was my first, maybe like electro house or progressive, some 4 on the floor type beat that was like it opened up a whole new realm of sound and electronic music that I just fell in love with. So yeah, I got put on a Monster Cat, listened to their releases, every single release, for like a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years. And that's where I discovered all the subgenres of EDM, because UKF was dubstep. So they had colors of the visualizers from a song when they would release it. I think like dubstep was purple, drum and bass was red, progressive house was orange. Then they had like glitch hop, which was like greenish, or trance was green, but then like a teal was glitch hop, and gray was trap. And like that was the label that made me discover, oh my god, there's more than just dubstep. So it expanded my whole world into all the subgenres, which was amazing, because I don't know, I fell into a niche of the subgenres that I'm currently experiencing right now. You know, it's always subject to change, but right now I am in my house, techno, and trap era. I mean, I absolutely love those subgenres, and there's a whole story and how I got there, but let's go back to when I was just in awe of this world of EDM. And luckily I had a couple other friends, especially my best friend from home, Anthony, who was also into Monster Cat. So we would have dance parties in his basement, in my basement too, as well, to our respective sound systems. And we would just get lit. And like, that was literally one of the most fun things I've done during that time of my life, was like dancing to electronic music. And keep in mind, I'm like 14, 15, like 13 at the time. And then, yeah, I followed Monster Cat pretty closely until like college, like, or senior year of high school, which is bringing me into my next era of electronic music, which is SoundCloud. So SoundCloud is definitely has just as special in a place of my heart as Monster Cat does. Because SoundCloud is where I discovered like my next era of electronic music, which was like future bass and a little bit, yeah, some trap, and just like, yeah, I got really into future bass. There's this artist named like Crane with a K, who like put me into a whole new world, another whole new world of sound. And I just like loved like the trappy sort of futurist. Oh my god, another one, Boombox Cartel, definitely changed the game for me. That Hefe EP, Supernatural, Back to You, yo, Back to You. The womp 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 womp, like that was like some weird shit. Like kind of my first like foot in the water foray into weird stuff. I'm really into like experimental bass and trap now. But yeah, just like, yeah, Boombox Cartel, Nightmare put me onto some crazy shit, like his song Street, and there's a few other really influential songs there. But yeah, the future bass SoundCloud led into my next era, trap. So Flosstradamus, definitely up there. Dude, the first time I had actually ever heard like trap on a live, okay, yeah, a live sound system was Major Lazer at Mad Decent Block Party Philly. And they played the song that maybe it's called like Original Dawn, but it went into its trap beat, and like when the bass kick hit me, and they like turned up the volume of the mixer just for Major Lazer, obviously, because they were the headliner. It just fucking vibrated my soul, and it was a very, very surreal, like life-changing experience to be hit with that much bass. So that was like my love for trap, which I still love very, very much to this day. Troy Boy, like mind fucked me with how precise he is in his ability to manipulate sound. Like he would just put all these weird sound manipulations in his song, but they were so perfectly placed, and just, you know, I was like, this guy's a fucking master of music production. So definitely, if you haven't checked out Troy Boy, give him a listen. He's still coming out with fire to this day. So yes, that whole SoundCloud era for me was like mostly college, and I was like kind of straying away from Monster Cat as I was getting more into SoundCloud. And then definitely like towards like senior year of college, and kind of from there thenceforth on was Spotify. You know, I had the Spotify student discount, and had you know, for school, and it was really cheap, so I didn't like listening to the ads on Spotify too. So yeah, I just started building out my libraries, not very seriously. I feel like when I was listening to music originally on Spotify, I wasn't taking it as seriously as I wanted, in the sense that I wasn't saving songs that I liked to my library or to playlists. But then I met someone who does, like, every time they hear something new that interests them, like, they'll immediately add it to a playlist, and just like stop what they're doing. And that inspired me to do the same. So towards the, like, senior year of college, I started saving every song that ever interested me on Spotify, and now I have my whole life is like, a lot of my life is in Spotify and SoundCloud right now. So I hope they don't go away, because that's my library is that. I mean, if it went away, I would still find new things, but yeah, like, I could go back to what I was listening to in, like, May of senior year if I wanted, because I had, like, my playlists are dated. So, oh god, I have no idea how I'm gonna tie this into, like, going to festivals and everything. But I did want to touch a little bit on where I'm at now. So right now I'm still heavily in Spotify and not too much into SoundCloud. And then not into Monster Cat at all. I don't really follow them anymore. But actually, just to tell you how much of a part of my life they were, I had bought a t-shirt from them when I was, like, 13. And then they had, like, a fan made video, where if you bought their shirt, you could take a picture of yourself and send it to them, and they would include you in the music video. So I did that, and I did make it onto their music video, which like, I was freaking out when I saw myself in the Monster Cat video, because it was cool, you know? It's like, yo, like, I'm part of this community. I felt like I was in, like, a community, because, yeah, like, seeing everyone else wear their Monster Cat shirts in the music, like, I didn't know who any of them were, but it was cool to put faces to numbers on those videos. And who knows, man, maybe I've seen some of those people that were in the video, like, at festivals. So let's take a turn here. Let's switch gears and talk about DJing for a little bit. So I'd really love, like, being on the aux ever since, I don't know, maybe even, like, 15, when I was, like, in my friend's basement, and we would usually show each other songs, me and Anthony, because he was into EDM just as much as I was. So I'd always like showing what I had found when I wasn't with him, when, like, hey, like, these are the songs I found, like, let me put you on, and he would do the same thing to me. So probably since that, I've always liked playing music for other people. And then, like, when I got to college, I fell in love with being on the aux, with, like, having my phone in and actually kind of staying close to the speaker, because I liked listening to music more than I like speaking to people. And I get compliments that, you know, I would be doing a good job on the aux too, which was lovely, because I'd always felt that I could read a room in terms of the vibe and, like, kind of cater to it with music. So freshman year of college, actually, I am going to these they're like frisbee parties where it's the ultimate frisbee team. They have a house, like the upperclassmen would have a house. They throw parties, and my one friend, Connors, was DJing some of those parties. With his, like, setup, he had a modern modern mixer, a Newmark Mix Track Pro 2, and then like an older mixer that I don't remember. But and it's funny, Connor's I'm actually going to his wedding in a couple weeks. So we're still really good friends, which is nice. And yeah, so I saw him on his mixer at the parties, and I was so intrigued. I was like, yo, this guy's DJing these parties, like that's awesome. So obviously I went up to him, and he was my teammate too, so I was playing Ultimate Frisbee with him. But at the parties, I'd be like at the DJ booth, like looking at him do his thing, and I was just so interested in it, that interested enough that that Christmas, or the next Christmas, actually got a Newmark Mix Track Pro 2 from my parents as a Christmas gift. And yeah, that was, my instrument to start me on this disc jockeying journey. I actually still use the Mix Track Pro 2 to this day. I DJ'd one of my friend's weddings a few weeks ago with the Mix Track Pro 2. And it's awesome. I definitely wasn't good at DJing at first. It took a while for me to like actually get pretty good at mixing. Because I didn't know what beat matching was. I didn't know what mixing in key was. Actually, embarrassingly enough, I didn't know what mixing in key was until like a year ago. But the concept of like 4 beats per bar, the fact that like house is in like 120 to 130 BPM, trap can be from like 70 to 90, and then more of like the stranger SoundCloud stuff can be like 100 to 110 BPM. I didn't know any of that stuff, but it comes with time and just not rushing it, and just keeping the passion alive for it. Like, I've always had a passion for DJing, even though I don't practice DJing every day. I get to sometimes if I'm really feeling like making a mix, of course I will bring out the turntable and start like come up with my ideas. And I can probably make a whole video about like how I make mixes. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, once I learned how to beat match and like the concept of like EDM and that something in the song changes every 8 bars, and setting cue points and the sync button. I am a fan of the sync button, by the way. I don't judge anyone for like using the sync button. Like, that's why it's there. Like, some for those unfamiliar, the sync button automatically matches the BPM of the song that you're mixing into to the song that's playing. And yeah, like you don't have to mess with the speed or the pitch bend of the song. Like, you can just press sync. And I find, it's easy. It's that's because it's easier than actually getting the BPMs to match manually. But yeah, if the mix you're making, even if you're using the sync button and you're not being like a quote unquote talented DJ, you're still creating something original by mixing all of the songs in your set list, and taking the listener through a unique journey, a unique sonic journey. So I think there's still talent in being able to curate a musical journey for someone. So yeah, I have like 23 or something, 22 mixes out on SoundCloud. Because yeah, the first mix I made was, well, it was in college actually. Um, and it definitely was not nearly as good as the mixes I make now, but you know, you gotta start somewhere. But it was the first mix that I was like happy with, was in college. And then I took a long break until I think like COVID actually. And then when COVID happened, I, you know, had so much free time that I got back into mixing. And then that's when I think that I definitely stepped my game up then, and got really good. You know, good enough to get my first booking at a festival last year, and then a wedding this year. And then honestly, like DJing the wedding this year kind of made me want to like pursue it full time, because it was really fun and I got paid pretty well. I mean, and I know what I can work on too, like in terms of my sound system, I can definitely step up the sound system. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like being like a wedding DJ could be a good thing to go all in on. But there's so many other things now. Fuck, I didn't talk about EDC, but no. Let's get into it. So EDC was one of the first festivals I like heard of, and saw like a promo video for it in 2013. So that was like 11 years ago. And wanted to go to it ever since. And here I am. Like I have no idea what it's gonna be like, which is like crazy, because I think it's just gonna be on a whole nother level than any festival I've ever been to. And I've been to the big ones, you know. Like I've been to Ultra and Lost Lands and Electric Forest, and they're all incredible. But I don't know. EDC, I feel like it's just going to be something completely different. But I'm so excited for it. And I mean, yeah, my whole festival journey has been leading up to this, the biggest festival in the country, for electronic music. And then, I mean, I do have plans to go to Tomorrowland in 2025, which I hope, you know, happens. Because that's like the mecca of the world. That's like the biggest EDM festival in the world. And of course, I gotta go before I die. Huh. What do I mean by I and die? That's a whole nother podcast. But yeah. Also, you know, we can talk a little bit about producing electronic music. We'll save it, and we'll end it here. But I'm glad I got something out about EDM. Probably can listen back and we'll get some more ideas, maybe go a little bit more in depth into some of the topics that I mentioned, because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot happening in the EDM world that I feel like I'm very integrated with. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. I had a good time talking about this because EDM is something that very much interested me. I did feel like I was in flow while I was conversating with just myself. And yeah, I hope you get something that maybe you get something out of this or not. Doesn't matter. I'm making it for me. I'm making it because I can, and I don't really care what the response is, because there's no reason. I'm making these podcasts literally for me and seeing what happens with it. So thank you for listening, if you did listen to the whole thing. And I'll see you next time.